Breaking news. Gunmen raid shops, church, home in Abia State. Yes, Abia State is another place where gunmen has been hitting badly. You know, uh, in the last few months, Abba has actually been on the limelight of gunmen, and they've been hitting a lot of centers. But I want to clarify something. We know the activities of the Biafran Defense Forces, and they don't hide it. They don't hide their identity, they don't hide what they do. They are mainly there to defend the land, and that is as simple as that. So we don't hide it. And the Biafran Liberation Army or the Biafran Defense Forces do not have any business with raiding people's home, just as we saw as we saw what happened in Olo, where the Nigerian and terrorist army raided innocent people, in Olo, and it resulted to a lot of buying, and stealing also. This is not what the Biafran Defense Forces stand for. But meanwhile, without wasting any more of your time, let us hit you the news in detail. The news reads: Gunmen on Friday broke into a tailoring shop along Orata Road in Aba, Abia State and carted away 14 industrial and manual sewing machines, cell phones, pressing iron stoves, and three 1800 kVA generators. Other items said to have been stolen from the shop owners, Mrs. Favor Elijah, included customers' clothing material waiting to be sewn, 10 scissors, and other valuables, all put at 12 million naira. It was gathered that the robbers also broke into other property, including a branch of the Deeper Christian Life Church, where they stole musical equipment and other valuables. A provision store whose owner lost 750,000 naira worth of goods, as well as the Ekonha World Health Center building in Abuja, Aba, and forcefully broke and took away iron protectors and some roofing sheets in the center main building. Narrating her ordeal in the hands of the bandits, Mrs. Elijah was devastated and pained that all her life's endeavors had been taken away. She said the pain for the loss was unimaginable. I don't know what to say or what to do now. All my life's endeavors have been taken away just in one sweep. What am I going to tell my customers whose belongings have been stolen? She lamented, while appealing to the government and security operatives to come to her aid by tracking and arresting the bandits. Speaking in the same vein, another victim, Mrs. Doris Chineke, a provision store operator at number 17 Edo Street in the same area, said the robbers broke into her shop and carted away goods worth 750,000 naira. So that is that on that issue. But now I must let you understand something. Like I said earlier before I started this news, the Biafran Defense Forces and the Biafran Liberation Army cannot and will never, attack Biafrans. We've proven that, they get whatever they want from the Biafran government. So they have no reason whatsoever to do that. And let me tell you, the sole aim of the Biafran Defense Forces is to defend Biafran people. That is the major thing. Is to defend her land. Is to defend her people. So we must understand this. Why I am saying this is this particular news you're seeing, they will twat it and twist it that it is the Biafran Liberation Army, or as they call them, ESN, are the ones who did this. The reality is these are just incidents of mere, bandits or hoodlums going to steal. Stealing has always been part of, a whole country, even in the US, that is organized, people still steal. People still go into shops and loot. I brought this news so that you will get the real information here, because of tomorrow, when you start seeing some things, some propaganda in their media. Please be careful what you take in. But without wasting much of your time, let us go into this serious topic that the Biafra Minister of Justice was able to clarify some certain things. Let me tell you, most of you do not understand the law. And that is why most times you just say things out of context. I want you to listen to this video and understand some certain laws governing, the land and other, lands. Please enjoy this video and do not forget to share this video to as many groups and platforms as possible.
New Zealand, and Nambonye Umubi village na Nambonye Onitsha. So yeah, Ebem no now na New Zealand, delivering this meeting to you all. So again, welcome. I'd like to welcome you to the introduction of Ministry of Justice. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, okay. We can hear you.
Oh, sorry. I thought somebody said something. I'll just give, essentially a brief overview of what it will look like, what the Ministry of Justice will, what our goal is for it to look like. And here is the agenda, starting first with our vision, our mission, then the structure of the state, look at briefly at the court system, justice process. And then I want to touch briefly about where we see ourselves as we look forward, as we venture into the future. And then I will allow for some time for questions at the end. So the Ministry of Justice is responsible for the authorities in the judicial system, including the Biafran police, the courts, prosecution service, legal aid, and through the public defense service and the Biafran prison and probation service. The ministry is also responsible for migration issues. The Ministry of Justice maintains and develops legal order and legal protection, reinforces the structures of democracy, and safeguards citizens' fundamental rights. The ministry is responsible for drafting the key legislation and maintaining legal order to ensure the proper functioning of the judicial system. Judicial powers are exercised by the independent courts. In addition, the Ministry of Justice is responsible for legislation in the areas around constitutional and general administrative law, civil law, procedural law, criminal law, public order and safety, as well as migration and asylum law. So our duties will include the following. So the Ministry of Justice are determined, the duties of this ministry are determined in a government decree. So some of the duties are performed by the agencies and public bodies within the ministry's administrative branch. So this will include law drafting in the fields of constitutional law, public law, civil law, criminal law, as mentioned earlier before, the development of law drafting within government, and the provision of advice on wider Biafra and international law, courts, court proceedings, judicial divisions. Our duties will include legal aid and general bar association, as mentioned as well. Sorry, somebody is drawing. I'll just clear that. Okay. General interest representation, prosecution services, enforcement service and supervision of the management of bankruptcy estates, enforcement of fines or infringements, community sanctions, and is there a way to lock? Sorry. Enforcement of fines, community sanctions, and sentences of imprisonment, the general planning of crime prevention and other criminal policy, improving the position of crime victims if the issue is not covered by other ministries, criminal records and other legal registrars, issues relating to pardons, international legal matters not covered by the mandate of other ministries, national elections, municipal elections and referendums, as well as the promotion of civic engagement, if not covered by other departments, party register and inspection of parties' accounting and use of funds, accident investigation, equality, and promoting good ethnic relations. So these are just examples, however, not limited to this list, and also it can be expanded to cover, the duties can be expanded to cover more things. But I think all in all, the Ministry of Justice will always work towards a safe and just Biafra, ensuring the rights of all Biafrans are upheld. Our vision and mission. So I've put three main key themes here. So the Ministry of Justice is committed to integrity and honesty in governing our justice system, striving to establish a trustworthy and reliable system for citizens. I think it is crucial to maintain a system that citizens can have faith in. The Ministry of Justice is dedicated to creating safe communities for Biafrans by ensuring the presence of police throughout all regions of Biafra, minimizing delays in law enforcement and response time. Transparency is key as well. I think transparency is a core value for the Ministry of Justice, promoting accountability by offering citizens full visibility into its operations. The ministry aims to grant all citizens adequate access and insight to its process and procedures. So these three themes will be at the root of our mission: integrity, safety, and transparency. Especially want to highlight safety. I think it not only is important to be in a safe community and safe environment, provide that for our citizens, but having them feel safe. And looking at the way things are now, a lot of people do not feel safe. When Biafra is actualized, that will be one of the key things that we will work hard to ensure, whether through our police, not only through our police, but through other measures, that our community members, our citizens feel safe. They can trust in if they need to report anything, they can trust that our police and our justice system will uphold and defend them and protect them and uphold what we stand for. So building a justice system that is fair, equitable, and accessible to all. Yeah, so our goal is to build a justice system that is fair, not just fair, but also equitable and accessible. Regardless of people's background or status, they will have access. They will be able to, yes, access the justice system. We are committed to upholding the rule of law and ensuring that justice is done that justice is not only done, but is to be seen to be done. So with regards to the rule of law, everyone is subject to the law, including the government. and our law will be clear and clearly enforceable. So we uphold the rule of law through our daily work to ensure laws are clear, predictable, accessible, publicly made, available, and that the community can participate in the lawmaking process. Again, something that isn't currently happening in, dare I say, Nigeria. So we have to be different. We want our people to be able to participate in the lawmaking process. Laws are publicly adjudicated in courts that are independent of the executive arm of government. Dispute settlement is fair and efficient where parties cannot resolve disputes themselves. And I will touch a little bit more on that part. To achieve this, we will implement rigorous oversight mechanisms and engage in continuous dialogue with the communities we serve. By actively listening to the needs and concerns of our citizens, we can adapt and improve our services to better meet their expectations. And I think at the end of the day, the system is here to serve our people. So if we are engaged with them, if we involve them in the process, if we listen to them, we can do that to a very high standard. The Ministry of Justice will also prioritize the use of technology to streamline processes and enhance efficiency. Again, something I will touch a bit later on when I talk about the way forward. But essentially, by adopting innovative solutions, we can reduce bureaucratic red tape and ensure that justice is delivered promptly and effectively. So ultimately, our vision is to create a justice system that embodies the principles of integrity, of safety, and of transparency. We invite all citizens of Biafra to join us in this endeavor, as together we can build a just society, not just for this generation, but also for future generations. So looking at the structure of Biafra, so of course, we have the Constitution of the United States of Biafra in progress, about to be finalized. The Constitution of the United States of Biafra will operate at the core of the state's functions as a foundational document that aims to protect the interests, liberty, and rights of the Biafran people, safeguarding the independence and security of the country. It aims to promote the common welfare, sustainable development, internal cohesion, and cultural diversity of its people. Constitution will ensure the greatest possible equality of opportunity among its citizens, and it will commit to the long-term preservation of natural resources and a just and peaceful international order. Biafra Constitution establishes a confederate system of government, hence Biafra nation is called a confederation. Each of the 40 states is autonomous, so that is how it will operate. The central government has no coercive power over any state and its citizens, except whether the Constitution states otherwise. And yes, this is the updated list in no particular order of all our 40 states. Separation of powers. So power separation confers executive, legislation, and judicial powers of the Confederation on the three bodies as established by our Constitution. So as you can see, we have the Parliament with the power to make laws, running under a unicameral method or system, if I can put it that way. The executive arm with the power to administer laws and execute business of government through police, defense force, government departments, and other statutory authorities. And of course, the judiciary, with the power to conclusively determine legal disputes traditionally exercised by courts in criminal litigation and civil cases on such things as contracts and other legal matters as well. The powers of the national parliament and states are clearly defined by the Constitution for harmonious synergy between national parliament and the states. And so at the right time in the future, we will obviously hear from the team working on the Constitution. Our court system. This is an overview of how I suggest the court system, the hierarchy of the system should be. The role of the courts is to administer justice by enforcing criminal law, resolving civil disputes, and upholding the rights of individuals, ensuring they are upheld, and ensuring that government agencies operate within the law. So there are different structures. In my opinion, this is the most simple, but also efficient. So we will have tribunals and authorities at the lower end. And then, so whether it's to do with tenancy, to do with immigration, motor vehicle disputes, licensing and certificates, taxation, charities, authorities, all different levels of tribunals, different kinds rather of tribunals and authorities. And then from there, if they were to appeal, it'll go into district courts of respective regions. And in the court system, we will have the youth, specific court for youth, family court, criminal court, as well as civil court. I think it's easier to have things like employment dispute tribunal separate, because it's more of a niche and it's more specific area. So for example, so I've put it here, if any employment issues can start at this employment dispute tribunal, then it will move to the employment court, which sort of stands alone, but on par with district court. Same here as having environment court and land court stand alone as well, just to keep things organized. So issues regarding land or the environment will be heard in their own separate courts. Then, if not resolved, the appeal can take place to the High Court. And then we will have Court of Appeal as well as the ultimate Supreme Court. And then just as a standalone as well is Coroner's Court. And I think this quite well covers all, if not every aspect of our of society. But just moving back to here, I think I wanted to add something that I didn't touch on in the beginning, but it's basically to say that my vision as well is to see a modern justice system that cannot and will not be tainted by any form of corruption, and that delivers equitable process and outcomes for all. I also wanted to touch on Omenala Ndiwo. Our Omenala will restore the essence of who we are. I strongly believe in incorporating and intertwining Igbo traditions and Igbo way of dispute resolution first, where we can resolve an issue without having to use the court system, which will be here, but where it can be resolved without referring to this system, that will be the best way. Our Menala will restore the essence of who we are. Our ancient Igbo idioms such as Onye Biribia and Onya Halawaneya will continue to underpin the way our system will work and thrive. And this will have a flow-on effect into our states, into our societies and communities. So moving back to the justice process and how we will go about it. The Biafran Ministry of Justice will engage a different approach. Oh, sorry. So this was where I didn't miss it. It was the next slide. Anyway, that's fine. We'll continue. The Biafran Ministry of Justice will engage a different approach to dealing with crime and civil disputes, including reintroducing traditional approaches of Omenala Igbo that are akin to the restorative justice approach. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the restorative justice in the legal industry. It's an alternative to the court system. So essentially, the two parties at dispute will come together and speak. Depending on, of course, what the crime, like what the offense that has been committed, it can get quite difficult, or it can be, it's case by case, I'll put it that way. But it has been proven to really help both parties see the issues from both sides. It has been proven to reduce a lot of unnecessary court time and resources. So yes, for example, the engagement of community elders and having the two disputing parties come together to converse where possible. The court process will still remain, as I said earlier. Traditional methods of resolution will take priority. So where Omenala cannot resolve an issue, the Biafran court system will prevail. That is the vision. That is the hope. So again, covering our criminal justice system, it will consist of three major components. That is police, courts, and corrections. So as I touched earlier in my opening, I think I mentioned how we want to build, within our police, we want to build a very trustworthy, reliable system. We want our communities and our citizens to not only know that be safe, but also feel safe. We want to be able to go, to be outdoors, to be walking, to be at whatever time of the day. It shouldn't matter. We are in our home. We are in our land. We should be able to feel safe. Police generally is the first point of contact that people, the first point of contact in the system, the first people see of the justice system, the first contact people make with the justice system, sorry. So again, having a strong force will be necessary. They will be responsive, well-equipped, and reliable. Regarding the departments of, so we've already touched on courts and the courts structure. So regarding the Department of Corrections, I think I just will note briefly that careful consideration around incarceration versus community-based preparations will be given. Of course, it will depend on the offense committed, but what we don't want to build is a system where we're just funneling people through the incarceration, funneling people through prison and out with hope that that will just fix the problem. And research from other countries, other states around the world has shown it's not quite so. Incarceration is not the only answer. Again, and that is why engaging a different method, such as including Omenala in the way we attempt to resolve disputes will be necessary as well. So regarding the different models of criminal justice, the Biafran criminal system will justice system will combine the due process model and the crime control model. So due process is essentially more where things are done the right way,